The main risk factors for preventable chronic diseases are tobacco use, lack of physical activity, and excessive alcohol use. The risk factors have caused unpreventable and preventable diseases like disability and death. To reduce these risk factors, prevent diseases or injury before it ever occurs, reduce the impact of a disease or injury that has already occurred, soften the impact of an ongoing illness or injury that has lasting effects. We all need to invest our time and money in improving healthy lifestyle behaviors by increasing physical activity and improving our diet. By doing this, almost 35% of early deaths will be avoided. Our integrative nutrition health specialist, Betty Olayinka Folari Akinlosotu, aka BOFA, advocates for this every Sunday on Health Corner and Nutrition segments showing on Healthy Living with BOFA channel, where she also features professionals on interview with expert segments. Join us every Sunday, 2 p.m. US time, 7 p.m. UK and Nigerian time, 8 p.m. South African time. See you there.
Friends are what the heart needs all the time. Of all possession, friends are the most precious. A true friend is someone who thinks that you are a good egg, even though he knows that you are slightly cracked. I want to use this moment to appreciate all invited and honored my invitation for my daughter's wedding in Nigeria last 2 weeks. My special thanks go to Engineer Omobose Olalere, the CEO at Jogbe Group of Company, for giving out food items to Mary, Gary, and Rice as souvenir. Wow. On behalf of myself and my entire family, both home and abroad, I'm saying thanks and more blessings, sir. Another thanks to Senator Babafemi Ojudu, the special advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on political matters. Thank you so much, sir, for your financial support. Another big thanks to Dr. and Mrs. Muyiwa Ojo. Thank you, Mercer. The legend gospel artist, Kenny St. Brown, KSB. Thank you, my dear sister. Big sister, I say thank you to you. Dr. Kende King, God bless you, sir. Princess Adeshola Kosoko Abino and her family, you are honored, my love. Thank you so much all the time. Engineer Biodu Wokoya Abe Cheche. Our next specific to Lagos House of Rep. My brother, all the way to Abuja, no doubt about it. See you there. Thank you so much for this honor. My bestie, Mr. Ayo Idowu, AYO. Thank you, brother. I cannot mention all, but to all my family, both and abroad, thank you all. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. It was a beautiful day for my family, and you made it so. May you all continue to fly with wings as eagles. God bless you all for all you have invested and gave to this beautiful day. I'm grateful for this love. Thank you all. Why are we here today? There are many responsibilities of parenting. Protecting our children from harm, providing our children with food, clothing, and shelter, as well as financial support for our children. But there are these essential responsibilities we neglected and ignored as parents. Why? Because we don't see them as responsibilities. Safety, supervision, and control are the most essential responsibilities we pay no attention to these days. We don't see all this as vital responsibility for us. Today on Interview with Experts from BOFA TV, we are discussing on parenting, and our focus will be on the challenges of parenting in this modern time. How modern lifestyle has changed our children and the parents. Let's talk about this with our guests on the show today after the break. You're watching Healthy Living with BOFA Health and Nutrition Talk Show, a wellness talk show. I'm Betty Olayinka Folari Akinlosotu. Thank you all for tuning in to broadcast with us today. Let's take a break. I'll be right back.
Teens Can Cook Foundation, in collaboration with the Nigerian Television Authority NTA Lagos, present the second edition of Teens Can Cook competition. For registration and participation, obtain a form of 5,000 naira from NTA Yaba Lagos office or at number 56 Okwebi Road, Salvation Bus Stop, Ikeja, Lagos. The winner gets an all-expense paid trip to the United Kingdom. The first runner-up gets a laptop. The second runner-up gets a set of cookers. The third runner-up, a multifunctional dryer. And the fourth runner-up gets a set of non-stick pans. Hurry now. For inquiries, call the NTA Marketing Manager on 0816 0087 or Duayo on 0805 111 3510.
Teens Can Cook Foundation, in conjunction with Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, coming to life in January. Register yourself. Don't miss out.
Teens Can Cook, uncovering the prominent chef in you.
Joining me on the show today is my beautiful, passionate woman, a gender activist, a smart, creative, generous lady who has spent and still investing her time, her money, everything God endow her in our community, making sure our children don't fall short when it comes to their right and responsibilities in achieving their goals. She was once on BOFA show, educating on sex education, and returning today to also discuss about parenting. Please join me to welcome Miss Enitan Sophie Oluwa. Miss Sophie, welcome on Interview with Expert segment from BOFA TV. How are you doing, darling?
Doing very well. Good evening. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks again for joining us today to educate on parenting. Oh my goodness, this is a very complicating, and sensitive topic to discuss. Miss Sophie, you were on the show few months ago, educating on sex education. And we both agree that you return on a request by the viewers to discuss on parenting. Here you are today. With no further delay, let's get into business. Please, in a few minutes, I want you to tell us what parenting is. What does it mean to be a parent?
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm happy to be back. So parenting is something that really goes beyond biological factors. And by biological factors, I mean that just procreation, having the child. Parenting is something that has to do with, it should be a choice, not by chance. It's something that needs to do with dedication and passion, because it takes a whole lot. But unfortunately, so many of us miss the mark these days. People just have children out of maybe cultural need or just to fit into the society. And it's affecting us in a whole lot of ways, because we see people have babies by chance. When you have a child by choice, that makes parenting more deliberate. And when you are intentional about what you do, you're going to be getting a whole lot of results, which is very, very important, because in the long run, the entire society will be impacted, either negatively or positively. Mm-hmm. The choices of these individuals will determine how the impact will work on the society.
Wow. Of course, we all know what parenting is, except we want to deceive ourselves. Of course. But things happen these days. I look at it that whose fault is this, coupled with what is going on in the society? You see a very young children doing something ridiculous you don't expect adults to do. And I begin to ask myself that, whose fault is this? Who is responsible for this? And how do we prevent all this? So I'm going to be asking you, multiple questions relating to parenting today, because a lot of parents are out there. They're getting it wrong. How has this so-called modern lifestyle influenced our children and how we parent them? How has this lifestyle negatively affected not only the children, but the parents, homes, community, the entire society, and the nation? How is it affecting us negatively? Please tell us.
Okay, so thank you so much for this question. And then I think that for the whole idea of parenting, modern lifestyle, and the influence of modernity, we can't erase it because change is the only thing that's constant in life now. And part of the modernity is what we are doing now. I mean, transmitting this life and then having this show recorded. Before now, this was like luxury to get done and all that. So this is one of the perks of modernity. The same thing applies to parenting. There are two sides to it. And remember, I said something about intentional parenting. When you are intentional about it, you have all of the resources you need to learn about parenting online with support groups everywhere you lay your hands on in our modern world, as opposed to what we had before. Now we are tempted to say that what we had before was better, but the truth is, what we had before was in those times, and what we have in every time will be good for that particular time. Just like saying you have what you need for this time. How you now use it matters, because this modern time that we know is having a lot of effects negatively on children also has its positive effects. Before now, parents were parenting and taking care of children was like a communal thing. It was more like two people would give birth to the children, and then over 100 people would assist them, families, cousins, aunties. But now, it's a mind your business kind of life. And this same time now, parents need to work. Before now, the mother would be at home, maybe she was a sit-at-home mom, solely taking care of the children. But now, there's inflation everywhere. The mother needs to make money so she can take care of these children. So we can look at it from that angle to say that, oh, this is affecting. And also, the advent of technology exposes children to a lot of things, just like adults. Now we need to control what these children, what they take in. But what happens when we do not have parental guidance to help them determine what they take in and what doesn't come in? Because unfortunately, many of these things happen, but we do not know because these children are so good. Again, I will call them digital generation. We are like the analog people. They are so good in masking this thing. You would not know. So yes, the modern lifestyle, we can look at it from both ways, the negative and the positive. But the negative now, because that is what we are seeing. We are seeing the effect of what people learn. Children now watch a lot of musical videos. They watch a lot of musical videos. They have access to a lot of resources, things that are really, really above them without their parental guidance or consent. And of course, because the parents are busy, it's unfortunate. But we're not now going to say that because there is a lot of negativity around us, we should take away all of the positive things that these times are bringing for us. It's not going to work that way. We have to look for a balance. Yes, it affects everybody. It affects everybody because in the days of old, they understood that if one child turns out bad, a bad egg can affect the entire crate. So because of that, everybody watches out. But now it's like a mind your business kind of thing. I don't care. Like, I mean, don't touch my child. Don't say this to my child. We are now getting to the individuals as opposed to the communal. So it could be both sides. And I would just advise that we know what we want to do and make this entire thing intentional.
Wow. Wow. It's unfortunate that this is happening in our society. Trust me. Miss Sophia, as a gender activist, of whose responsibility is this change? I mean, this bad habit that is going on all over the social media, for instance. Who do you think is responsible for these negative changes in our children? Is it parent, government, teachers, or the children themselves? Who are responsible for this?
Okay, so I'll say that all of us are responsible. We all have roles to play. Parents, community members, individuals, because somehow, somewhere, even people who do not have biological children are aunties and uncles to people, role models. Now, on the part of the government, a lot of, we have laws, but these laws are not being implemented. People get away with a lot of things. We see a lot of videos now. We see young children, no parental guidance, no correction. There was a video that separated of a small boy of about 2 years or 3. He was taking alcohol in a party and it was being recorded. And that kind of video was being circulated because it's like the in thing to see. He's a big boy, he's a happening boy. You see a lot of videos with young boys and girls twerking. because they've been watching these things from musical videos. And this has to do with, now that's on the part of the parents. On the part of the government is that we do not have enough regulation and system in place to check the regulation. It's one thing to make laws. It's another thing to have these laws implemented. Do people get punished when they break these laws? The answer is no. I think people get away with so much, and that's what enables them. Now, for us as individuals, we have to be conscious of what we do and how we do it. When we celebrate mediocrity, when we celebrate bad behaviors, then it's not going to make those who are behaving properly want to continue behaving properly, because there's no consequence for bad behavior. So of course that enables, and that's why I said we all have roles to play. It's not going to be one individual. If you leave it for the parents might just feel like, you know how parents feel, oh, I suffered before I had this child, oh, my lovely precious child, my only child. So they might want to enable bad behavior, even though the consequences will come and tell on them. But it affects us as a society, because if my neighbor's child is badly behaved, I cannot keep my children from them. Somehow they will mix up, either on the playground, in school, at the mosque or church. So which is why we all have roles to play. And of course, if I take care of my children and I teach them good morals, definitely, if the next person also does the same, if we remove one problem from 1,000, we have 999, and gradually we are finding solutions to it. So I think that all of us have roles to play in this, and we need to find out the box where we fit in and take action. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Are there any parenting styles we parents should adopt when it comes to parenting?
Okay, so when it comes to parenting, there's no one size fits all, because what works for you might not work for me. We have individual children and adults. People have different behaviors. So we need to understand who we are dealing with and what we are dealing with. That would help us find solutions. So I could say, yes, we could have like a blend, or identify what works for you and your family. You should be able to set maybe reward system for children when they behave properly. You need to also set maybe punishment system for them. Let the punishment not be more than the offense that they've committed. At least they become hardened and feel like, oh, mommy is just, because I know growing up, a lot of people are like, oh, my mom will kill me. Oh, mom is going to beat me. So because of that, after some time, they get used to all this, and it's no longer effective. They want to test the waters. They feel like, oh, what's going to happen? It's not going to be a case. So let me just do what I have to do. So because of that, you need to know what works for you and for your family and stick to it. More importantly, I think the most important parenting style I would advise people is being role models, quality role models. Children learn from what they see. You see, imitation is one of the things that children do. You do not tell your children not to do A, but you are doing it. When you're doing the same, they learn from you consciously or unconsciously. Yes. So parents need to be up and do it in their role. Take responsibilities for their actions in front of their children, because their children are modeling them. Once we have all this in place, once every adult or every individual lives properly and understands that I am a role model for every child around me, it makes the journey easy. So I'll just say that we do not have a size fit all, and what works in A might not, or what works with A might not work with B. We just need to know what works for each individual, and we stick to it. Thank you.
Now, thank you so much. Some people still believe that social media has no effect on what goes on in our society today, especially what happens to our children. For instance, you see what happens to a young girl of 13 or 15, the video that was going viral a few months ago, last month precisely, those kids that went to Dubai to do for excursion. So people still believe that social media has no effect on this, because they believe that it happens in the community, in our homes, before they now bring it to social media. So the question is social media impacting or influencing or affecting this generation negatively or not?
So, like I said earlier, it could be both ways, and which is why we need intentional parenting. What this means is this: as a parent, we need to have child control. We need to understand what our children are consuming, because life is Gigo. Whatever goes in is what's going to come out. In computer, you say garbage in, garbage out. So the kind of things that our children are consuming will determine what they will turn out to be. We're not going to say that social media has its good side, because if you're going to bar them strictly from using this social or digital media, you will also be denying them a lot of chances. In the world of today, the world has gone technology is everything. People are making so much money and people are solving so much problems with the use of technology. So why should we deny our children access to these things? What we should rather do is control what these children consume on this system when we can still control, because when you train a child the way the child should go, definitely that child will not depart from those lessons.
That's right.
If you had watched the video, I didn't watch the video because as an adult or as a person that works with children, as a child protection person, I know that it's not something we should watch. And this is where the roles of individuals come in the society. You should not watch such video or even populate it, because, and I'm aware that the OAP that released it is already facing legal charges, and then had the day in court in the course of the week that just passed. So you do not share such content. Sharing such content, people will say they're using it to teach some other people lessons, but remember that people are also seeing this and watching, and then people are learning. That's child pornography. And this is where our role comes. As an adult, when you encounter such, you're supposed to delete immediately. You're not even meant to delete. You're not meant to download such or be transferring it. But it was embarrassing. I saw a lot of people were asking, can I get the video? Where's the video? You are aware that this video is of a child that has been declared to be a minor. The analysis of this video says that this child or these children involved are minors. Why are we sharing such? So yet again, social media or digital media has a good and bad part. But what we need to know is there are controls to this. You can control the kind of sites your children are visiting. You can control the kind of what they have access to, basically. So you could have like child access or child support for this, where you're going to put so that the lock protection for it. Certain sites will not be allowed to go without your consent or without, because these children are actually smarter than you think. They use a lot of code. They can search for so many things than you know, because there are 1,001 ways to learn things now. From YouTube, many of them. So let's also look at how smart these children are with the things that they consume. Before now, they were all on Facebook, because that was the platform that was popular. As soon as parents migrated on Facebook, they left Facebook, they moved to Instagram. So the more parents are moving, now they've moved to TikTok. From TikTok to Biscuit, and you will discover that most of those videos of the young girls that leaked did not even leak on Facebook or Instagram. It came from TikTok, because that is the app that they are using. So what I mean by that is what we teach them is what they learn, but they now also take it to an advanced stage, which is why we can now channel this kind of energy to something positive for them. What they can use. Children in other climes are using this to solve problems. So let's not deny our own children from learning this. They could use that time to learn coding. They could use that time to learn other things that could be beneficial to them, as opposed to just using it in the negative way. It falls back to us as adults and the ones that they look up to.
Wow. Thank you so much. Now, we've talked about the challenges, the effect, and whose responsibility all these moral things is. You mentioned social media as one of the things that can negatively or positively influence our children, both in bad and good ways. Now, how do we prevent these challenges? All these bad habits imposed on, or I should say, adopted by our children. How do we protect our children from being influenced by this crazy, unacceptable lifestyle? Because if, like you rightly said, that we shouldn't deny other children who are learning, who are being influenced positively of this social media. But at the same time, we have to look at the opposite side. We have to flip the coin to see who are being affected. So how do we protect this? How do we safeguard all these children from that? Don't forget, we have a lot of children out there that have been negatively affected due to some reasons, which I can't say, because if my child is not being influenced negatively and others are being influenced negatively, I'm not in their shoes. I don't know what is going on in there. It could be financial problem. It could be maybe they have no children, no parent to guide them, or they don't have any guardian that can, teach them or control them. So now we want to look at that area. judge, I mean, to get the prevention for this type of group of people. So how do we protect our children from being influenced by this, unacceptable things going on in our community?
Okay, thank you so much for that. So like I said before, I made it clear that what we expose our children to, acceptable things in our society, because once your child knows that these are the things that are acceptable here, they will not deviate from it. The foundation is really, really important. And what the foundation means again is that we need to have conversation with these children, quality conversation. Our own time, it was about parents trying to just threaten. Threat no longer works with this generation. You need to explain, this is why this is not good for you. This is why, and remember, you also, as parents, you need to be quality role models. Not that you're going to say, do not watch pornography, and you are seen watching pornography as a parent. You are seen indulging in all those things. What kind of value system are we transmitting to these children? So beyond saying that it's just social media, what kind of value system? Because the values that we give to these children, to a very large extent, goes with them everywhere they go. They can either build on it or they go lower. And we also need to know that some children actually, they have access to all of the knowledge that they need, but they just maybe grew wings or they grew the other way, which is why we also need to care about our neighbors' children. We're not saying talk your nose into everybody's child, but what protection means is ensuring everybody around you, we have influences in different places, ensuring everybody around you does the right thing. We need to take conscious effort to ensure that these things are done, because ultimately it affects us all as individual members of this community. So for different sites and different applications, they are like child control law. Parents need to now familiarize themselves with most of these things. Because again, these children are smarter than you think. I work with a lot of young people. You find out that just like something as little as WhatsApp status, they know how to screen adults, people they do not want to see the content of things they are doing. They know how to block you from it. You just say, oh, my child does not even do anything on WhatsApp. It's not true, they are there. But they know how to block mommy away because they know that mommy is going to talk. They know how to, so we need to just let them know that I love you, I care about you. Nobody can love you as much as I do love you, but this is not appropriate for you. Live by example. Reward good behavior. And I mentioned the video of the boy, Chris Lantel. From the analysis, a lot of people who watched the video kept on talking about a particular young boy who was just about to sleep while they were doing that while they were recording. A particular young boy was just about, why are you disturbing me? It was obvious that that kind of boy has the kind of moral he needs to see through the world. He wasn't excited by all those things they were doing. He just felt like, this is an adult behavior. And I shouldn't be involved in this. So you can see where this moral comes from and the kind of things that we teach our children. They are very curious. So we need to channel this energy in a very positive manner, not enabling them get into bad things.
Thank you so much. God bless you for all this information you gave us today. It's, in fact, I am so happy we treated this today, because I had the video that, that went viral a couple of weeks ago, sent to me by one of our past guests on this show. And he requested that we bring somebody that is going to talk about parenting. This video, when I watched this video, I bleed inside of me like, Jesus, these are very young girl and boy. I think their age would be between 6 and 7 years. See them at the party. But what's really aggravated me when I heard about it was that the person behind the video coverage was the mother of either the girl or the boy. Looking at them dancing like, this is the boy, this is the girl, like, oh my goodness. I felt within me that this is not life and it's not acceptable. And you see, they still see it. Many parents don't see anything wrong with that. They look at it like, okay, this life, they think it is civilization. Some even call it socialization. Oh, my child is mature. So they just let them go on with this adoption of these bad habits that goes on in our society. And like you rightly said, everybody, all of us, have a role to play in this. we gave birth to these children. Even the teacher that teach them in school, we gave back to them. The government that is going to play another role in imposing, or putting rules and regulation in some places, we gave back to them. So everything still boils down to the parents, especially mothers, because men don't really do much when it comes to parenting.
I think I would like to cut you short and correct that. So one of the things that we are missing in this generation, but I'm happy that the narrative is changing. It's not just mothers, both parents. The role of the father in the life of a child cannot be underestimated, and that's why we need both parents present.
Yeah, but I understand, but some men, they don't even care whether they believe that the mothers are the one to play that roles. And that is why
that's the reason why I said we all have roles to play.
Exactly.
We need to unlearn certain behaviors, and we need everybody to be present, because these children did not actually born. 2 adults decided to procreate, and these children are here. We need everybody to do the right thing. The father is as important as the mother. The father is as important as the mother in the life of a child. We have dysfunction in most of this, in our society, and in most of these kids, because one of absent parenting is something very serious. Because people get away from it in this part of the world, they just want to just procreate and have children, and they just move on. It's unfair on those children. It's unfair on even your lineage, because that child carries your name. Now the mothers, because of the modern world, when the mothers were the sole providers of the children, when they were the sole caretakers of the children, was when the mothers are not doing all of these chores that we do now. Like the mothers were predominantly at home. Maybe they were doing some kind of trading and other things, but they were not far away from their home. Today, now, we see a lot of, on the street of Lagos, 5:36, you are going to see babies. I call them babies because some of them as young as 18 months, as young as 13 months, they are being shipped to the daycare and creche because their mother needs to go and work. I don't know if you understand. That kind of a child, where is that child learning from? If not from the peers or the contemporaries. So we need everybody around, everybody involved, aunties, but most importantly, the 2 parents, the father and the mother, because the role the father will play is different from what the mother will play. We can no longer leave this for just the mother or just the father, because again, there's this erroneous way we also train children. Mothers just say, don't worry, when your daddy comes, we are putting this kind of fear as if the father is a monster or whatever. We need to make them know that we are your parents. We have to be accessible. Intentional parenting, again, is what I said. So everybody needs to know what works for them. We need to unlearn a lot of things. A lot of parents will tell you that in our own time, our parents did it this way and we turned out well. It's not true. We are not turning out well. If it turned out well, you will not want to inflict this same kind of pain that you were inflicted to your children. So we all need to unlearn a lot of things so that we can make better choices and make better adults. We know better, so we should do better.
That's right. Wow. Thank you so much, Ms. Sylvia. Viewers, here is the fact I want all parents. And when I say all parents, I mean both fathers and mothers. Watching today's show, I want you to know, and I also want you to understand that an effective parenting is the ability to interact and engage with children in such a way that they learn and grow into remarkable adults. It is the ability to take daily effort to connect with children on a meaningful and personal level. It is always good to get the roots of the behavior. There's no way you can do it. If your children live with you, you should know what is going on in that child's life. You see, there is always something motivating a child's negative or disruptive behavior. And if you don't make a move to find out, how would you know? Let alone solving, preventing, or stopping it. We have to be consistent. We have to say no to any bad habit, behavior the children sees as lifestyles, socialization, or call it civilization. Let's focus on what we can control ourselves. Discipline if you have to, but don't punish. Because there's a way you discipline, and there's another way you punish. Many kids have been negatively influenced, destroyed, damaged, especially by this so-called social media. And don't get me wrong, why this social media is helping, building, and creating some children, bringing them up in a positive way. Some are getting it wrong. And we can fold our hands, continue to pretend that it's if we don't know what is going on, or we don't know this is bad. No, it has to stop. This cannot continue. We must stop it. And this is the time we must do it. And it is now. Thank you so much, Ms. Sophia, for joining us today on this show to educate on parenting. God bless you so much.
For having me. Well, I think before we leave, I would like to also say that parents also need to start having conversations with their children as early as possible. Don't be too busy for them. Because when you are busy, particularly when they are still trying to find their feet or when they're trying to talk, and the children could be a handful, and that's why we said conscious and deliberate parenting. Or you need to listen to them at that time when you think they are still blabbing, because by the time they become adults, they are now estranged. They don't want to talk to you because when they wanted to talk to you, you were not ready to listen to them. You were too busy for them. So the moment they grow older, or the moment they can find their feet outside of you, they no longer want to talk to you. And then you say, well, I don't understand what's wrong with this child, but you started it. So you need to be able to listen to even the foolish things that you think they are saying, so that they can also listen to all of those things that to them sound foolish when they grow older. We need to open that communication channel with our children and keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you for all you're doing to promote health as well as to impact our children. We do appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. That's all we can share with you today on Healthy Living with BOFA Health and Nutrition Talk Show, interview with expert segment. Let's bring today's show to a close so that we can bring you another edition next Sunday by the grace of God. Thank you for joining us today. I will see you next week. I'm Betsy Olayinka Folani Akinlosotu, holistic nutrition health specialist advocating for health and wellness. Please share this show. Connect us on our social media, Instagram and Facebook, Healthy Living with BOFA TV. You can't miss it. I'll see you next week. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.
Thank you.